So we're going to look at dominant strategies of oligopolies today using a payoff matrix. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up a 2x2 grid payoff matrix. And the grid is, we're just going to use this as our setup, 2x2. And we're going to have a high, and we're going to have a low, we're going to have a high, we're going to have a low, and we're going to call this company X, we're going to call this company Y, and then we're going to fill in profits that these companies, X and Y, are going to be making based on the strategies of the other. So we'll say that this will be 100, and we'll say that this is 200. We'll say that this is 150. And this is 100. And we're going to say that this is 200. 200 down here. We're going to say that this is 400. And then if they both choose to go low, we'll say that it is 75 and 70. Okay. When we look for dominant strategies, what we're going to be looking for is if the reaction from one company to a decision made by the other. So we'll start with country X, and in how we read this, the left-hand column that's vertical will be the left side. What I always recommend is putting a box around the X and then putting a box around the left-hand numbers just to kind of differentiate between the two payoffs that we're going to get between these two companies. And so if company Y decides that they're going to have a high level of output, then company X can either do high or they can do low. Well, if we look at the dollar amounts, if company Y goes high, then X will want to make sure that they go low because that's going to be better for them in the long run, right? 200 is greater than 100. Okay? If company Y goes low, then company X can go high for 200, or they can go low for 75. When we look at this, company X is going to go high because 200 is greater than 75. So what we would say is that company X does not have a dominant strategy because if company Y goes high, they're going to go low. If company Y goes low, they're going to go high. So we would say that they don't have a dominant strategy. When we look at company Y, what we're going to do is we're going to see, well, if company X decides to go high, then company Y can either go high for 200 or they can go low for 150. And 200 is greater than 150, so we would say that the company Y would decide to go high level of output here. If company X decides to go low level of output, then company Y is deciding between a high level of output and a low level of output. Well, they're going to go high again because 400 is greater than 75. So we would say that company Y has a dominant strategy to go high because regardless of what company X does, they're always going to go high instead of going low on level of output. This is what's called a dominant strategy. As we change the numbers inside of the payoff matrix, we have the opportunity for different companies, different countries, whatever we're talking about, to have different dominant strategies based on the profits that are being made and shown in the two-quadrant payoff matrix. So that's how we find a dominant strategy. This is going to be really important for us as we move towards finding Nash equilibrium. To make sure that we know how to do a dominant strategy and find a dominant strategy is going to be important when we look at those things in oligopolies.